The gaming industry is currently chaotic, to say the least. Over the past few years, we've seen some of the worst this industry has to offer. Uninspired games, no innovation, constant controversies, political messaging replacing actual storytelling, and failed live services designed purely to squeeze money from players with the least amount of effort possible. Layoffs are everywhere. Studios are collapsing left and right. But if you ask any gamer whether 2023 or 2024 were good years for gaming overall, they'll probably say yes. And they'd be right, because this ugly, pathetic side of the industry is being demolished by studios that actually care. Studios that are focused on delivering the best experience possible to their audience. Since the release of Baldur's Gate 3, we've seen game after game from studios that aren't even considered mainstream rise to the top. Sometimes those games are from indie devs with almost no funding, but they're making the best games of the year. Games that give players what they actually want. And that's exactly what Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is. A ray of light, destroying the darkness of stupidity and bad decision-making in modern game development. Expedition 33 is more than a game, it's a statement. It's a direct contrast to everything that's gone wrong in the gaming industry. This isn't a soulless cash grab from a bloated AAA publisher. It's a passion project, born from one person's love for RPGs. Guillaume Proche, the game's creative director and co-founder of Sandfall Interactive, started Expedition 33 as a solo dream. His vision, in theory, was simple but very ambitious. Create a turn-based RPG inspired by the classics he loved growing up, but use the latest game development technology to make something truly modern and breathtaking. To bring that vision to life, he teamed up with programmer Tom Guillermont, now technical director and co-founder of Sandfall. Together they built a studio from scratch. Now Sandfall has a team of about 30 people and released their first game. That alone is impressive, but what's even more powerful is how this tiny team has done the exact opposite of what most of the industry is doing. While major studios are pumping out overpriced games stuffed with microtransactions and, let's be honest, very underwhelming quality to say the least, Expedition 33 is an immersive, complete, and extremely unique experience. With no corporate greed, the game is super accessible, even being day one on Game Pass, no trend chasing, in fact the game tries to rescue the neglected and overlooked turn-based combat for RPGs, and no cheap gimmicks. François Maurice, production director and another Sandfall co-founder, said, and I quote, "I believe that in video games, success always starts with a strong creative vision." And we had that, defined by three core elements: a story with great emotional depth, gameplay that innovates on the classics we love, and a world that is completely original, beautiful, and immersive. Now compare that to the recent failures we see from industry giants like EA, Ubisoft, Bethesda, BioWare, Obsidian, studios that used to lead the way but now seem allergic to originality and artistic risk. They release blunt, forgettable games full of broken mechanics and half-baked stories that feel like they were written by marketing and PR teams filled with political activists, not artists. Meanwhile, games like Expedition 33 are reminding players that great games don't have to come from AAA or quadruple A studios that we are so used to, especially on the West. These are games made by studios with vision, no matter how big or small they are, and they are being rewarded because players are voting with their wallets. It's already starting to happen. Studios that depend too much on questionable releases with bloated budgets and live service garbage are collapsing. Look at what happened to Concord. Sony and Firewalk thought that they could enter the hero shooter market like we're still in 2015 and just print money, but players didn't bite. And that failure is a warning sign to every publisher and every game dev still clinging to a broken business model. But let's shift the focus now to the game itself, because Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is more than a symbol of a changing industry. It's also just an incredible game. When I entered the game for the first time, I was completely blind. I didn't read or heard anything about the game's story or characters. I did not know what the story was about, and I just wanted to experience in the most intense way possible whatever was being presented to me, and it immediately hooked me. The game presents a haunting, emotional narrative set in a tragic and, I suppose, apocalyptic world. Every year, the mysterious Paintress appears and erases the lives of everyone of a certain age, dropping the number by 1 year after year. The event, maybe a celebration of life, maybe simply a final tribute to the ones about to be lost, is called the Gommage, and it represents one of the most creative interpretations of human mortality I've seen in a game. It's a literal countdown to extinction, and that looming doom gives the story a real weight. The characters aren't just fighting monsters or chasing power, they're confronting grief, despair, and the fundamental question of how we choose to live when time is running out. Do we cling to the joy and spend what little time we have with those we love? Or do we gamble everything for a slim chance at changing the future, even if it means fighting for a cause most people don't even believe in anymore? Each member of your party is more than just an expedition member. They are fully realized people with their own motivations, doubts, and values. Jennifer Yen, the game's lead writer, deserves massive praise for writing the characters in a way that makes them feel so deeply human all the time. And the acting brings that writing to life in a spectacular fashion. Yes, big names like Charlie Cox and Andy Serkis are brilliant in their roles as Gustav and Renoir, but the entire cast shines. Ben Starr, Jennifer English, Kirsty Ryder, Shalyn Nix, every voice actor brings depth and subtlety to their characters, creating an emotional connection rarely seen in video games. That emotional resonance is amplified by the visual design. Expedition 33 blends the aesthetics of a late 19th century France with surreal, dreamlike fantasy and elements of steampunk and technology here and there. The result is absolutely stunning. From the lighting and architecture to the costume designs and environmental storytelling, every part of this world feels intentional. It's often melancholic, but beautiful, grieving yet full of life. Credit here goes to Nicholas Maxon, the art director. What he and the visual team have achieved is nothing short of visual poetry, essentially. And speaking of poetry, the soundtrack is simply one of the best things I have ever heard. Before this game, I had no idea who Lorient Testar was, but thank God I know now. Every single track is purposeful and beautiful. It's one of those rare OSTs that sticks with you long after you stop playing. Sad, powerful, meditative, and triumphant all at once. And when the vocals of Alice Duport kick in after a party wipe, losing the battle doesn't even feel that bad, since I can just hear her voice again. It truly is art, not just some background noise. Real effort, real talent, real passion. And that's what this entire project is, a reflection of what happens when a small group of insanely driven and talented people decide to make something that matters to them and to their audience. And that brings me to what to me was the biggest surprise of all, the gameplay. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of turn-based RPGs. I respect them, I get why people love Final Fantasy and all the classic franchises known for this type of gameplay style, but for me, the slow pacing and spreadsheet strategic decision-making never really clicked. But Expedition 33 changed that in the smartest way possible. Instead of just copying the genre, the devs at Sandfall decided to go for a more dynamic approach. They added real-time elements like dodging, parrying, and timed reactions. Suddenly, every battle feels incredibly alive. It's dynamic, it's strategic, and exhilarating. You're not just picking moves on the menu, you're fighting. You're reading the enemy attack patterns, managing resources, and reacting in the moment. The gameplay loop is addicting, and it's balanced. You are rewarded for skill and planning, and that balance is the core of what makes this game so impressive. Because in a world where so many games ask you to turn off your brain and follow markers, Expedition 33 asks you to engage emotionally, visually, tactically, and that's why this game works. It's more than just a great RPG. It almost feels like a blueprint on how to create a perfect original game. It's a reminder of what video games can be when they're made by people who love them. When the goal isn't the quarterly earnings alone, but immersion, storytelling, emotion, fun. It shows that we don't have to settle, that even in an industry full of greed, there are still creators who care. And if we support games like this, if we show up, buy them, talk about them, share them, then maybe, just maybe, we can help reshape this industry into something better. Games like Expedition 33 aren't just fighting monsters in-game, they are fighting for the soul of gaming itself. If you still haven't played Expedition 33, please do me a favor and do yourself a favor. As soon as you have the chance, play this game, give this game a chance, even if you're not a fan of turn-based RPGs. You won't regret it. But anyway, that's it for today. See you guys later.